Yes. And you'll introduce Isaac.
Yes.
I've already got people asking where we're at. I told them we're coming live right now. We're usually a couple minutes early.
Well, not today. We're really teasing them to death today.
Okay, we're live. We got all that chatter on the first one, so we're live on both. Hello.
Okay, we're on. Woo!
Yay!
Yay! Well, just a few moments ago, we had just a little bit of a technical issue, but obviously we've got it repaired and fixed and corrected. So I want to introduce Isaac Bradfield. I've known Isaac since probably 2005, between 2005 and 2008. We've worked together. We've actually done events together. He's done countless charts, information, knows about tarot. He's a man who knows all kinds of things. So what I'd like to do is just go ahead and start and say, Isaac, first of all, welcome to the show. We're so excited that you're here with us. And I just want to I just really would kind of like to turn it over to you and say, what are we looking at for this period?
Well, when you say this period, are you kind of thinking in the next month or so?
Yeah, just for let's just narrow it down to right within our sights, within the next couple of weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. For something like that, unfortunately, I wish I had a little bit better news, but it's still going to be very, very tense and upsetting. There's going to be still a lot of things that are going to be secretive in terms of their nature, because that is the nature of the COVID-19 chart itself. It is of Scorpio, and it has this nature behind it, along with Saturn, which is very, very strong, stern, learning process that we have to go through. And unfortunately, that Saturn is also associated with things of life and death. So it's still extremely strong in that regard. And it's opposite this moon type energy, which is all this emotion behind it. So besides being ominous, we feel it. And it's in the 12th house on top of that, which means it infuses our feelings to the point of our subconscious. So our dreams are altered. Our whole feeling about life itself is being pressure, like a pressure point right on it. And we're having to react to it and deal with it. And the next month is still going to be more of that kind of situation. It clears up a little bit towards the middle of next month, but the next few weeks it's still kind of an awkward situation.
I have a question.
Please.
You said it's secretive. Do you mean the situation or the people that are in charge are secretive? What's secretive?
The answer is yes.
Okay. Got it. Yeah, I just want to clarify. I just wanted to clarify.
That's really what it comes down to. Its nature itself. Viruses are insidious in terms of the way they infect their host. The biologists will tell you they're not alive, but they actually go into the cell. That's how they reproduce. They create more of their own kind in there, and then it busts loose, and the infection continues to spiral out of control. It is secretive in its nature, and this particular COVID-19, I backtracked to the exact first case that was documented in China, in Wuhan, that was publicized, and it's Scorpio, and with that nature, it's always going to be secretive and deadly in its approach. With that, will there be mutations? Most viruses do mutate, and they're talking about different mutations that are happening now. That will continue to go on. The fact that it's with Saturn there means it's just ominous. It has a deadly punch. And with this whole thing continuing to grow, it's going to continue to have power for quite a while. It's not going away. it's going to kind of fade out for a while and then come back. That fall is not as nice as I would like to say it's going to be. That's what's concerning me now. August, we start seeing a little bit of let up, but then some things kind of backslide. Mars goes retrograde there in September, I think it is. And I just don't like that feeling with that going on. It just feels bad. And until it goes direct again in November, it's going to be in a jam.
So really, we just need to really just be prepared for more delays and just get in our mindset that this is not going to be just a quick 3 month and we're done. This is one of those where we really have to be smart about this and pay attention to what we're thinking, feeling, understanding. I found it interesting that you were talking about the dream state, because I have kind of bizarre dreams, but nothing like what I've been having in the last, say, month or 2 months. I mean, it's just it's amazing what's been going on, and I've had clients say the same thing.
That's part of its nature. It's pressing on that, just like you would on doing a massage or kinesiology of any sort. It's pushing on that point within our psyche, and it's causing us to integrate different things than that we had before. This is anytime you deal with Saturn, it's a learning process, and it's usually this trial and error, and you touch the hot pan and you realize it's too hot to touch. It's that kind of situation. It is a harsh learning environment.
What do you think that we're supposed to learn from this? Do you have a clue of where our focus needs to go?
This whole thing is based off this Pluto, which rules Scorpio. And Pluto is this whole thing of ultimate spiritual transformation.
Mm.
Oh.
Nothing minor.
Oh my gosh. Seriously, it's the ultimate spiritual transformation.
For people that are living on Earth, which that's where we're at, this is the crunch. This is the crunch time. This Pluto, I talked about it in that last radio show. This Pluto sitting there, I knew it was just building up, and it's slow, secretive fashion. This is the underworld. This is the whole Hades and building up and this pressure, but it's an overall transformation through this dark fire of what it represents, of getting rid of what is not needed and moving on. And to me, I've always interpreted it as not being so materially attached to things on Earth is what it really comes down to. That the overall capitalistic type approach to the Earth is detrimental. And I just hit something.
What'd you hit?
I don't know. Hang on here.
You're working fine.
Yeah, it looks really good.
What's interesting about that, what you just said, is that from what I understand from a scientific basis, the virus is a fat cell base, which makes it very fragile because fat, melts easily and stuff. But isn't it interesting that if it's fat based and we're trying to purge the things that we don't need, to me, there's a synergy there. And, an implication there that this is indicative of what you just said, because fat, who wants more fat? I don't. Do you want more fat, Elizabeth? No. We all can lose weight, figuratively and spiritually,
Definitely. And I think that's just part of this. And what we have going on, the 25th of this month, this Pluto goes retrograde in Capricorn again. And Pluto, since it's so far out there, it moves so slow. We're going to be dealing with this for a while. And that's part of that whole thing I was telling about. This is not going to go away. This is a very, very strong generational type influence. And the best thing that we can do is be aware of what's going on and realize within ourselves, what do we really need and what do we really don't need to have hanging on to us. Put it aside and focus more on, what is emotionally sustaining, emotionally supportive to ourselves and not materially.
So
Well, let me bring up something. You had mentioned in one of your radio programs that this is the same lineup as it was, if I'm correct, during the Revolutionary War.
ooh,
This has a lot to do with that. Well, there was that, and also, we had this whole comet thing going on as well,
Oh yeah, yeah.
which is related to, I think 1844. They think it's part of that same comet. But that whole thing of Pluto up there, yeah, it's the revolutionary aspect of dealing with society, of tearing down what is not working and rebuilding it in a better form. So anytime you go through, Pluto and Scorpio, yes, there is this destruction-oriented exterior, but the inside you have this crucible that has now created something better. You're creating your own philosopher's stone by your own life, hopefully. And this is part of, we're going through the crucible right now. We're getting charred up, and this is, part of the process that we're going to go through.
so does it take on any other levels or aspects? Of course, I'm hearing a lot of chatter in all directions about what this is going to do to our political climate because we have an election coming up.
The 10th house and Capricorn are our political systems, administration, government. Pluto's sitting there, and it's got Jupiter there, and Jupiter wants to make things bigger and better. Pluto wants to tear down what exists and rebuild it better. So you have this combination, and Saturn was there right there with him, and it's starting to slip away a little bit. And Saturn wants to keep things the way they were. So you put those things together, and these are big planets. These are the big guys, and they move a little bit slower than the interior ones. But their synergy together, as you put it, says we're going to change the political system. This is not going to happen overnight, but things are going to change in the way we deal with people and ruling people. Is what, on an astrological level, this is what this boils down to. Now, this is not going to happen overnight or in the next 6 months or something like that, but we see changes taking place even now, though. We see cracks in the way that things are perceived as being, what is perceived as being correct and not working. And we're going to get this shift that's going to take place.
That's really interesting to me because I had someone that is very prophetic tell me they had a dream the other night that looking back 10 years in the future, looking back to now, that we're going to come back and say this was the beginning of when we became and whatever it is that we're becoming, and we won't ever go back to what we consider normal. That won't ever go back. That was what was in their dream.
Creating the new normal.
Yeah.
Right.
What people are saying, and I say yes, that's what's going to happen. And will we get through it? Yeah, we'll definitely get through it, but it is going to cause a lot of social change, and the way we administer government, I think, is going to change as well.
Right. Well, let me kind of interrupt you just a second because I don't want to miss this. You were talking about the comet.
Now, the Atlas comet was coming is coming, and comets are always associated with major change. And here we are, COVID's going through, and now we hear this comet's coming through. Its name is Atlas. It's supposed to be extremely bright. And it's going to be here closest to the Earth the 23rd of May. So as an astrologer, I'm sitting there going, okay, now we have a comet on top of everything. And comets have usually been associated with the downfall of governments or rulers. They're usually not considered good omens, generally speaking.
Comets are not considered good omens.
They're, generally speaking, they're always considered with something bad's happening to the fact whoever's in the ruling power gets knocked off and we have a change.
Wow.
And that's
okay, so
in
I
May.
see this Atlas is coming through, and Atlas holds up the Earth, so it has a very Earth-oriented energy behind it, association. and it's holding up at the four corners, and it's, you know, so it's very Saturn and Capricorn type orientation. And we have all these heavy planets in there right now, so we have that going down. But it's going to hit the, you know, it's going to come by close to Earth 23rd of May. And then we find out a few days ago, this comet, as it's coming down, like a lot of comets will do, the closer it gets to the sun and the heat and the pressure and everything, it can break up.
Oh my God.
It is now roughly in 3 or 4 pieces. It depends on which astronomer you talk to, how many pieces, but it is breaking up now, and it's no longer going to be this bright comet that it was. It's going to be a lot smaller. It's going to be harder to see, and it is breaking up. Now,
wow.
So something that was going to be really, you know, interpreted as negative, now it's breaking up into 4 points. So my interpretation of that is, you know, what was going on there is going to basically kind of, you know, center itself away, and we're going to have basically some different factions that are going on is what it's going to create in terms of change.
Okay.
So it's not just one big thing. It's going to be, in this case, 4 big things. What are they going to affect? They're going to affect the Earth directly and our struggle to be alive on Earth.
So that's a lot of information. I mean, that is a lot for especially someone who's not as knowledgeable as you to take in. And it kind of reminds me of when I was a child and people would talk about what was happening with the dynamics in global politics because communism was coming up and we had socialism coming up, and, you know, what's going to happen to America. So Isaac, tell us, in your opinion and your assessment of this, the positives that you see coming out of this and what we can look forward to in the next 6 months. Did that make sense?
Sure.
Okay.
It's going to cause this whole changeover in viewing material goods, which we talked about. It's going to cause this change in terms of communication. This social distancing type thing is, it's more, it has stronger relevance to what's going on than we might realize, because we're very social animals. This is not natural to us to try to do this kind of approach, and this is going to cause a lot of pressure on relationships and just people dealing with other people. Now, because people want to be together, there's going to be this one group that's going to come around, and people are going to be a lot more generous to one another and a lot more forgiving. And you're going to see a lot of that. But on the other side, other people are just going to be knuckleheads as usual, and try to say, you know, we've got to keep the way things were and hold on to the old, and we can't go forward. And so that whole faction's coming up. It reminds me of the Atlas breaking up into 4 pieces type thing. And then what we're going to be looking forward to in going, you know, moving on is Pluto's still going to be there. It's still going to make those changes on that scene. But as Saturn is going through Aquarius, which it is now, it's going to make that change in terms of dealing with society and how we view people working together. Initially, it's going to be more of the same, but I think there's going to be some fraying in terms of how we deal with other countries and with ourselves within the U.S. As Mars goes through and does that retrograde in the fall, things that are in action are basically going to be put on hold, and there's going to be this inaction or little movement forward, and then it will be released in the fall, which is mid-November.
Election time.
Well, you know, you were talking about some of those groups. I just read either last night or early this morning about a group, I think it's in Michigan, that's already starting to protest about the idea of they're ready for this to, you know, they're ready to come out. They do not want this social distancing. They're having a major event up there. And with you talking about that, it's like that's already starting to appear in a majority of people up in that particular area, that they're going, no, we're done. We're not going to do this. We're going to continue to do the way that we want to do it.
Yeah.
So that's already showing up.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing that up, because that touches on one thing I wanted to say is about this whole thing with science. There was this growing push, anti-science in terms of what it was bringing to the political world and society in general. And now, in the midst of this, now science is becoming more important. We've got to get a vaccine. We've got to have testing and things of this nature. So that's another one of these groups in conflict that we're going to be dealing with and trying to settle out. What is the value of science, and how can we work with it and not be at odds with what it says versus what we need to live and survive.
Right.
With Saturn going through Aquarius, that's going to help that issue.
What about
So that's going to help during the summer, so we're going to see a swing more that will give science a little bit more credit that it's due, and it will help bring things about. But Saturn is Saturn. It moves slow. It's ruled by lead. It's going to do its slow, steady pace, and things are going to come about.
What about our economy? Because that's a huge part of this picture of people being stressed and worried. They miss their relationships, but they're also worried about being able to maintain just day-to-day living.
Yeah, that's going to continue. That, no joke, because your career and your job is that 10th house, that's that Capricorn, and that's where that Pluto's sitting right now. So that's part of this whole crunch. People are getting this pause button to decide if what they're doing is really what they should be doing, and what is the value of what they're doing in the global scheme. These are harsh, tough questions to be asking yourself, and everybody goes through these. Well, this is the pause button. It's making everybody take a look. Is this really what you want to do? Is this how you want to exist on Earth? Is this how you want to interrelate with other people? And it goes down to the very, very brass tacks, like Deborah was mentioning. Having food to take care of your family, making sure you're paying all your bills, that you can have a house that's under control. So I see, for what it's worth, I do see another stimulus check type situation occurring as well.
Cool. They're already talking about that right now. It's already in the House for debate.
It's coming. It's coming. I saw it. I think it's in August is where I saw it happening.
So what can we do? Because the planets are powerful. I mean, just from a physical gravity standpoint, you can't deny that. But what can we do as a group? What can we do as a people, as a group, to facilitate this being easier, smoother, not so hard? I'm just going to use the word hard, not so hard.
We're all being put through this Phoenix fire.
Oh, I like that word.
Okay. And that means, a lot of things that we thought were normal and we needed are going to be pushed away, burn away, and we're going to have to come out on the other side bigger and better and more spiritually in tune to the earth. Okay, that's what it's going to go down to. My suggestion for everybody is, make peace with earth. Make peace with the changes that are going on, and realize, this is all going towards a higher state. And if you can keep that in mind, you help yourself go through these transitions instead of fighting it. If you fight it, Saturn will knock you down.
Ooh.
Pluto will wrangle up your insides. You don't need that. Realize there's going to be changes. Believe it's towards a higher good, and know it's working in that direction. That's what I'd recommend. Make peace with Earth.
So do you think that if we collectively all start to pull back all that fear and anger and resentment and judgment of everything that's been going on, possibly we can create this virus to slow down and to stop a lot sooner than if we continue in our ways with our behavior and our energy and our hate and anger.
Dale, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Exactly. If we take the fear and this judgmental aspect that the universe is forcing on us and realize, okay, we're part of it, and just take it in, and go through this, we can come out a lot stronger, and we can start nullifying a lot of these dangerous aspects to this virus. Humans have lived among viruses since humans have existed. And there will be other viruses, some, in most cases, will be benign. They won't mean anything, but they're saying every 20 some years, we might have another situation like this, a very deadly one. But we can live with viruses. We always have. We just have to, create some vaccines and go through this initial hump. But to your point, I think it's exactly right. We need to make peace with this so we can nullify it and slow it down, and put it in its box that we can take care of it instead of letting it out like Pandora's box.
Awesome.
Right. Because that's what it feels like in many cases, like somebody's opened up Pandora's box and all kinds of craziness is popping out.
It's exactly, it does feel that way. And that ominous fear is probably the biggest thing that we can address right now. That, believe in the light and believe in, the goodness of the earth and not the negative. And, I think that's going to help people more than anything.
Well, I'm the odd
So
person.
really, that's what we're trying to do with this show, is to bring in the positive aspects of different people, what they do, how you can actually benefit from just, in some cases, just simply laughing and just being silly. Anything that's going to cut through this, what feels like a major depressed state in many ways. But I know that fear factor is an issue, especially for those of us who are single in the house by ourselves. I mean, even if we're introverts, we still need that extroverted world to go out and play in from time to time.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I'm kind of the odd person out in a lot of ways. I'm enjoying this. I mean, other than I miss being able to see my grandchildren at will and going to the movies and getting buttered popcorn, I'm pretty digging this. I do worry about my mother's health, because she lives with us, and so we're extra careful on what we do when we go out, and much more careful than I would be if it was just me. But to me, this is the life I've always kind of wanted to have, being at home, not having routine and schedule crammed down my throat. I don't know. So that I try to point out the positives of all this situation for people. But I'm seeing people get really bitchy on Facebook and stuff, getting really bitchy.
People don't like, a lot of people don't like to be trapped, and that feeling creates a lot of anxiety and interpersonal clashing. If you're trapped in a house with your children or your spouse or whatever over a period of time, you can grate on each other's nerves, and there'll be a lot of that, unfortunately. That's going on now. That'll continue for a while, and we just have to give everybody their space and just take a breath and realize it's not as dire a situation as you might be making it in your own house.
No, it's more about having compassion and being more tolerant and getting a sense of humor and
accepting of one another a little more, regardless of our beliefs, whether we agree with each other or not. It's about still caring about each other, having compassion for one another, even if I say to you, well, I don't believe what all you're saying, but I still respect you and honor that's your belief. Not that I don't. I'm listening to Isaac, and I'm amazed at what I'm hearing, and I like what I'm hearing. But for those people that you don't agree with, you still have to honor and respect each other's beliefs and accept those things. And that's what, as they were saying, that's what this group is all about: is bringing everyone together and honoring their different, gifts and abilities and beliefs and themselves.
So what's your cat's
Nobody
name?
by themselves is totally right.
Right.
Oh, I hate hearing that. Now Isaac,
Everybody
dadgummit.
is right. So it's one of those things you have to, you have to listen to everything and realize that, there's a lot to learn from everybody.
Okay, now I'm going to have to just blurt that out of this, because if my mother hears that, I am doomed. Because I am trying to convince her I am right. Dadgummit. Now,
That will just blow your whole cover right there.
Oh
That's
my
gonna blow it out of
God.
the water.
Oh my God. Yeah, just yesterday we were having a discussion. I just looked at her and I said, you know what? That's what you think. I don't think that. And we're going to stop this conversation because I'm right and you're wrong.
Oh.
I like to say,
Let me ask one more question, because I know we got to wrap it up. You were talking about Mercury going into retro, so
Not
when-
Mercury.
Pluto.
We got Pluto going in retrograde.
That's
22.
it. Pluto. And when
And
does
then-
that?
Saturn next month.
Saturn next month. Okay, Saturn goes into retrograde. Okay.
And Venus goes in retrograde next month, and Jupiter goes in retrograde next month.
Well, somebody sells them a different
Okay.
ticket. That's
Somebody just needs to stop.
yeah.
Somebody just needs to stop. I mean, that's, okay.
That cat.
Basically, the first 2 weeks of next month, it's going to be, you thought everything was thrown up in the air now, even more so. We're going to be starting this readjustment in terms of how we're living and what's important and what sort of influences that we're dealing with.
Okay, that's the first 2 weeks of May.
That's basically, that'll cover most of them, yeah.
Okay. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
The 14th is Jupiter going retrograde, and that's the big one there, because that's going to probably shake up something big time in Washington.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Wow.
That cat's cracking me up. I'm like a child. I get amused at the smallest things.
Yeah.
Well, it's a
I put
happy
all these
cat.
charts out on my
that's
table.
positive. It's
And
a
the cat just
positive.
wants to dance.
Yeah, it's a great thing. We love cat energy. I mean, that's a positive thing.
So, is there anything? Everybody's already bought up all the toilet paper and the mask. Is there anything we need to rush out and buy today?
Here's what's going to come about. The first part, May 13th, so Venus goes retrograde. People are going to start looking at all these things to help them feel better or look better. So this wave of, how you look in the mirror or how you look on Zoom is going to be really important.
Hats. Buy hats.
That might be the,
Hey, it works. It
future.
does. Yeah, absolutely.
oh, and sock puppets.
Yes.
Oh yeah, puppets. Yeah, that's right.
Puppets. So things that are luxury type items: champagne, chocolate.
No.
Watch
Bourbon.
those things.
Bourbon.
And that's one thing I'm going to be talking about on the show. Is we're going to get into this phase of people trying to overcompensate for all this pressure by, drugs and alcohol and escapism, all different forms. Now, is anything in excess is too much.
Right.
That's what you have to worry about is excesses.
I hope
If
that
it
only
becomes
includes
the
my
norm, that's not just, taking the edge off, that's creating a problem. So that's what we have to be aware of. Really watch out about that with your clients.
Oh, what are those?
Well, that's really no joke. I mean, there are several of my clients that are talking about they never realized that they enjoyed alcohol as much as they do right now.
You don't want to be creating a problem because of another problem, and that's what we have to watch out for.
Right.
If you can, yoga and breathing exercises are going to really, really help center you.
Right.
And that whole pressure type thing that you're feeling inside, that anxiety, if you can release that out, that's what I would do.
Okay.
And if something for stones, if you take a bath with a lot of petrified wood, that's really, really good to help calm you down and center you.
Yeah, don't be using crystals in your bath. That revs you up. You want to calm yourself
but
down.
petrified wood will help slow things down.
Yep.
And center you and don't make you feel so spaced out and flying across the galaxy.
Yeah, and that's true. That's true. That's exactly how it feels.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So we need to wrap this up, guys. So Isaac, tell us about your show. Comes on tonight.
Comes on tonight, 8 o'clock Central Time. We're going to be talking about COVID-19, the stuff that's going on astrologically from now in April to the middle of May. We'll be talking about those retrogrades in a little bit more detail, and touch on the Atlas Comet and comets. And then at the latter part of the show, if you have some astrological questions, I'll take some of those. But it is not psychic night. This is an astrology and divination show.
Okay, I have one more question though. I have seriously one more question.
That's all been changed. It'll all be changed. It'll be correct for tonight.
Okay, we're gonna run over time. I don't care. It's our show. I have one more question. We're in charge. You have a wealth of information, and you are privy to information that you may or may not even share with the rest of the world. So what do you do to ground yourself or to calm yourself when you see something you're not thrilled about?
Oh, yeah.
At that moment or later on thinking about it?
Either one.
Either way.
Both.
I think right that moment would be really good for us to hear, because a lot of us need something right then to calm us down, or we just take that energy and it rolls and rolls and rolls over.
Right.
To me, faced with those sort of situations, which all of us are, we can't avoid it, TV, radio, movies, whatever, our personal lives, we're going to run across situations that are just not right or don't feel good or something like that. And you have to always remind yourself, well, at least what I do, I remind myself of the inner divine nature that I have, that I am, and that, by being, one little candle in the midst of whatever, at least I'm trying to give some light to the situation.
Well, don't you find sometimes that when it's in a negative state, or you look at something that has the potential to be negative, information is power. To know is better than to not be aware.
Right. But I'm a biologist as well as other things, and
Cool.
Dealing with the earth and what's going on with the earth, I run across all these situations and research, and it really, really hurts me inside, and I do everything I can to project that energy that, that love is out there, and that, Gaia, Earth herself, and we are in harmony together, and believe in that, and just see that as being the positive that it is. At that point in time, if you just, reaffirm those type of things, and then later on, late at night, meditation of any sort, just seeing that, you're part of nature and nature's part of you, and you're helping it as much as you can, and it in return can help you. That's at least the way I approach it.
You're a nice man. I like you. I really do. You have a very calming energy about you, and you're very well grounded and anchored, and I appreciate being around people like that, even if it's just on Zoom.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For sure. Well, maybe we can get you to come back around in May, the night of your show again, and have you kind of give us an update on what you think is what you see. Yeah, we'd love to have you. I mean, this would be awesome.
It would be.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we can definitely do that.
How do people get a hold of you, Isaac?
Easiest way, it's Isaac at spiraltopaz.com, and I spell it ISSAC at spiraltopaz, one word.com.
They can also find you on our Spiritual Neighborhood page on Facebook. We've got you there.
Excellent.
Yes, you have a permanent home there.
Yes.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, if people need to get up with me, you need some charts done, As Elizabeth and I were talking about, a lot of people are going to be very, very concerned about their jobs, changing jobs, job stability, and things of that nature. This is going to be the best way to try to delve into that, is looking at a chart and see how you can help yourself out the best going forward.
Absolutely.
Or you can.
You've done a chart for me. You've done a chart for my business. Don't forget, y'all, you can get a chart on your business, not just you, but your business as well. You did a chart for my mom, and she talked about that up until she passed. I mean, she just thought that was the most awesome event that had taken place. Now, my mom was totally, 7 planets in Aquarius, so that was just like right down her alley. But the detail that was in that chart was absolutely extraordinary. But that business chart, that I think that one blew me away more than anything else.
I think they're fascinating because it has its own power. It has its own birthday. It's going to have its own transits and things that are going on and progressions.
Yeah.
And if that is, part of your life, you should need to know how to best take care of it. Just
Absolutely.
like you with your garden. So.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I love those business charts. I just think they're valuable. That's the key word for me. It was valuable, and it really helped in a lot of the changes that were going on. So it was very informative, very informative.
All right. Well, we went way over time, and I don't care.
It's been a pleasure meeting you, Isaac.
It was. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you, Deborah.
All right, so
Thank you so much, Isaac.
do you want me to turn us
Looking
off?
forward to seeing you again next month.
Okay.
Yeah, just come back every month. Just come every month. Just make, yeah.
If I can make it happen.
Well,
Okay, that's a deal. We'll make that. We'll put that into the schedule. That would actually be awesome.
all right, I'm going off screen and I'm turning us off.
Okay.
Okay.
Thanks everybody for joining us and watching. Isaac. We'll see you next time. We'll see you tomorrow.
Absolutely. Bye, everybody. Y'all have a good
Bye.
week. Well.